I think we're live. Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining. We'll just give it a few more minutes or a few more seconds. All right, I am going to kick us off. Sean, let me know if you can see my screen.
Looks great.
Okay, awesome. Well, hello and welcome to this month's Masterclass. I'm Alex. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager at Catalyst, and I'm joined by Sean here today, who is our Solutions Engineer. And we're really excited to have you joining us to talk about 3 plays for sales and success to find and close customer revenue fast. And what brings us here today? Why is this topic what we've chosen for this month's Masterclass? First and foremost, this is actually a very interesting study that was recently published by Chart Mogul. Of course, what we're seeing across the board, businesses of all sizes, whether you are small or some of the largest in the industry, are all facing definitely a challenge when it comes to growth. New business growth is certainly down. New business pipeline is hard to come by at this time in this market. And what's interesting as well with this study is expansion is also on the rise. And it certainly makes sense, but it's interesting to see that the amount of ARR for new business is growing when it comes to expanding your customer base. But what are the risks when it comes to expansion? Of course, right now we would love to know how to grow our customers faster for the business. But first and foremost, as seen on this slide here in bold, expansion is certainly complex. There are many ways that you can expand your customers. There could be upsells, cross sells, new teams, true ups. And with that, if teams are also targeting expansion in different platforms or through different mandates, driven by their leadership, it can certainly become quite complicated for the business and also for the customer. It's really important to make sure that expansion, not only those certain plays are defined and there's clear ownership, but also how do you identify them? There's a lot of nuances between knowing when a customer is ready to expand or not. And then, of course, finally, you also have a relationship to maintain. Customers, you need to make sure that they have come back and repeat business with you and renew. So with that, we are definitely excited to talk about an exciting solution within Catalyst that we've built, which is called Signals. But we have enhanced this significantly over the past month, all in the name of continuing to help you power customer growth through your GTM teams. We've also enhanced how you can collaborate between Salesforce and Catalyst to do so. And we're really excited here today to show you exactly how that works. Plus, beyond even our signals feature to proactively identify and grow your customers, Sean also has 2 other bonus tactics to show you to deliver best practices. And again, how you can really, close your year strong and ensure that you are not only landing customers, but being able to renew and expand them as efficiently and effectively as possible. So with that, welcome again. And I am going to pass things over to Sean to take it away.
Thank you so much, Alex. And hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be diving into Catalyst to show you all the new and exciting stuff that we have as it pertains to expansion. So going to go ahead and share my screen here. Beautiful. Okay, so the ultimate goal is to help businesses easily identify expansion opportunities and drive purposeful and proactive action to ultimately turn these opportunities into close one business. So, what we first thought we would do is walk you through what our signals configuration looks like. Here we are in the settings of Catalyst, where you can configure each one of your expansion levers into a signal and define the indicators of that expansion lever. So, for example, what indicates that a customer is true up ready, is ready for a new product or a new team? So, those three primary expansion motions are the ones I'm going to focus on today as we walk through this flow end to end. So, first and foremost, on the right hand side, you'll see that each signal has a name and a description. And you have indicators which are driven from all of the rich customer data that you're feeding into Catalyst. So, for example, you'll see for the true up expansion signal here, we're very much focused on seat utilization. Now, for new product, we're focused in on having, have they touched a gated part of our product or have they activated a trial? Or are there other factors that indicate they're ready for a new product expansion? Lastly, is new team. Are they sharing internally with teams that are not currently in the system? Are there opportunities to talk about bringing in new teams? So, again, this really slick, intuitive UI is designed to leverage all the data you fed into Catalyst to set up these bespoke signals, making it extremely easy for your team in a day to day scenario to understand when their customers are ready for expansion. You'll also see here that you can create different profiles for your signals. And why is this important? Well, this gives you the flexibility to determine, are there different indicators for different segments or industries of your business, or different thresholds for the same indicators that you might want to change based on that segment. So as you see, we can deliver bespoke signals for the new team expansion signal based on whether the customer is SMB, mid-market, or enterprise. Okay. So now that we've defined our signals, we'll now look into how they fit into a rep's day to day. So, where I'm going to navigate next is our expansion hub in Catalyst. So, this is a dashboard view that we create for our customers that not only gives you a high level summary and forecast of where the expansion is at in terms of current quarter plans, but also, again, makes it abundantly clear to account managers or CSMs or sales reps as to when their accounts are ready to grow. So, really, the goal here, if we scroll down into our customer list, is to make it so that without having to sift through different data sets, leapfrog across systems, and do detective work to uncover expansion potential, now that you have these signals set up, you'll very easily see which accounts are ready and why. So as we can see here, we have our high growth potential accounts. We see our account list here, key fields such as renewal date. We can even see the numeric health score to understand both where has the health score gone over time, as well as based on the health score we've custom built in Catalyst, which aspect of this relationship is indicating to us that they are healthy, neutral, or at risk. And then you will see your signals. So for example, we see that Adobe is showing that they are ready for this new product expansion. And what we have recently launched is the ability to see what was the last action taken on this particular signal. So we can see in this scenario that this signal has in fact already been actioned upon. And by simply hovering over the details, we can see that trail history of exactly what's gone on here. So again, very powerful as you want to make sure that it's clear once that signal is fired off, what have we done to action upon it? And you'll have that history here. Now, in terms of being a rep and understanding what account to focus on that hasn't been actioned yet, if we, for example, were to take a look at Coupa software, we can see that they are ready for this new product expansion. So the next step here would be understanding why. So if we take a look at this signal here, this was the one that we just built in the back end and is giving us a ton of context here to tell us exactly what is the criteria that was met to indicate that they are ready for expansion. Now, we all know we have some superstar CSMs, AMs, and AEs here. So you're pretty on top of your accounts, right? We want to provide you with the mechanisms to decide what to do based on this indicator, right? Because this signal is meant to be an indicator in just that. So what might you want to do from here? Well, maybe you just got off a call with this customer and recognize that there's another more important initiative that is a priority right now. So maybe you set a reminder to say, let's wait and check back on this 60 days from now. Or, in fact, what you just found out was unfortunately the VP at Coupa Software has just left the company. So things aren't going great. Maybe there's a riff in talks, and you want to dismiss this signal for now. So, again, having that flexibility is going to be extremely powerful to see that indicator of expansion, but then decide what to do next. Now, here's where the magic happens is when you actually want to take action on this signal. So, what can you do here? By selecting the take action button, you have quite a few actions to take. Now, first, what you might want to do is create a note, an opportunity, a task, even an external action. But today, what we want to talk about is adding this customer to a playbook, right? Because you very well may have a motion in place today that tells your reps to say, once the expansion indicates as ready, let's go ahead and add them into our best practice automation or playbook to finish the swing, if you will, in terms of identifying and then actioning upon that expansion. So we'll go ahead and add this customer to a playbook, and that's going to pull up the playbook history here. So now, as the rep, you can see, well, what has gone on in this account? What playbooks has this account run through over the course of the past few days, months, etc.? So we can see that they've been in quite a few playbooks, but the good news is they have yet to be in that new product expansion. So we're going to go ahead and add them to the new product expansion playbook. Now, by adding them there, that kicks them off into this playbook. Now, if you recall, what playbooks will do in this case is email the customer, send them some best practice enablement material, maybe even attempt to book time with this customer, and then internally kick off potentially an action plan in terms of what should happen next, who should be involved to execute upon this expansion potential. Great. Now, one other thing to call out is, as you can see, Cooper software here, now we can see the last action was added to playbook, which is exactly what we just did. So we can see right here, I just added them to this new product expansion playbook and we're off and running. But as you can see, a lot of optionality in terms of enabling you all to decide what's the best action here to do once that indicator is flashing. Great. So there is another aspect of actioning upon this expansion, and that involves the notification system here. So we are going to ensure that there's a regular cadence of notifications once these signals go from not ready to ready. And in that same theme, worth calling out is it's equally valuable to understand if, for example, a customer like Demand Base is not ready for this new team expansion lever. Well, what exactly is the reason why they are not ready so that you have a clear understanding and clear focus as to where should we guide this customer towards to ensure that they're ready for this type of expansion. Now, chatting through notifications over on the top left here, if we go to our notifications, we can see our signal notifications. And in addition to that dashboard, this notification hub is also actionable. So for example, we can see that there is a more licensed signal that has fired off for Insuron. So similar to that signal on the dashboard, we can set a reminder, we can dismiss, and we could even take action. So maybe right from here, you decide, you know what? I just talked to Insuron last week. I know that they're doing great. They are fully maximizing and leveraging their licenses. They even discussed maybe bringing on more licenses. So this is clearly an opportunity that I want to action upon. Now, imagine a world where quite literally from here, you can click take action and very simply pull up the opportunity form in Catalyst. So this is going to be a situation where you can quite literally create this opportunity in Catalyst. So you'll go ahead, call this the Insuron new product or more license expansion opportunity. Select the stage to start it in. Go ahead and, of course, select the account and the close date. And you're probably wondering, where are these fields coming from? So these fields are, in fact, the required fields on your Salesforce end that are required to fill out to create an opportunity. So once we create this opportunity, two things happen. Immediately gets created in Salesforce so that folks that live and breathe out of Salesforce are notified, and it even creates the opportunity in Catalyst. So you can see that we're being very intentional here in providing mechanisms, optionality, and clear guidance towards how do you finish the swing in terms of starting with that signal that clearly identifies when a customer is ready to expand, following that through to ultimately creating that opportunity and turning that into closed won business. Awesome. Okay. So what we've discussed though so far is the new enhancements around signals. I want to dive a bit further into the playbook functionality in terms of how can we build out a best practice motion so that it's very clear and proactive in terms of what action should be taken and when, right? Now, as we've discussed, I think it's very clear that most reps, excuse me, just switch my screen here, are going to be perfectly capable to action upon their opportunities here. But as we know, now more than ever, teams are tasked with doing more with less. And actually, let me take a pause here. I see a couple questions. How do you know a client is ready for expansion? Okay, I think I already answered that. Cool. So for the teams that are maybe managing a book of business where you're talking about 50, 100 different clients, you want to instill an automated motion to ensure that critical expansion revenue doesn't slip through the cracks, right? Obviously, table stakes goes without saying. Tools like Catalyst, we want to make sure that you're getting ahead of that churn risk, but also you don't want to miss out on expansion revenue. So it's important to establish best practice playbooks around motions like this. So if we go to navigate to our playbook section in Catalyst, this is our list of playbooks. Playbooks, very simply, are designed to automate what's otherwise manual and free up bandwidth for reps so that they can focus and prioritize on high value activities. Now, let's take a look at our upsell and expansion playbook here. Very simple, intuitive flow builder, doesn't require technical admin to both stand up, configure, and make iterations to these playbooks. The first thing you do with a Catalyst playbook is simply set the entrance conditions. And as you notice, these signals are fields that can be leveraged across the platform, including in playbooks. So as you can see, we have our signals here, very simply stated. When these signals are fired off as ready, let's kick off this playbook. Now, once accounts meet these conditions, in this case, the signals are ready, we're going to take action. What does that action look like? Well, in this playbook, the first thing we're going to do is send an email to the customer. We're going to let them know that, hey, we noticed some great usage. Maybe even hop on a meeting with this customer by providing our dynamic calendar link. But what this does is just takes the thinking out of it for CSMs. I'm sure some of you on the call here spend quite a bit of time going into Gmail, manually drafting up an email, figuring out what's the right wording I should use. We want to take the thinking out of it for you and really standardize the best practice around the language that should be used. Now, in tandem with that is where we're also going to assign out that growth plan. So what is this growth plan? Think of it as, again, what should an A plus CSM or AM at your company do in the situation of the signal firing off? Here are the steps that need to get done. Maybe one of the steps, of course, even now would be something like create op in Catalyst if applicable. So as you can see for the managers, for the directors on the call, it's getting everyone on the same page, swimming in the same direction with this motion. So this, in fact, is a action plan that will proactively get assigned out to the relevant folks that need to be involved. And then from here, it doesn't stop, right? We want to send an initial email and introduce enough nuance to ensure, again, these customers don't slip through the cracks. In this example, what we're going to do is wait 7 days. And if they haven't opened that initial email, go ahead and send them another email. So this is using our advanced branching logic that is smart enough to know if, in fact, your customer opened or clicked on links in your email. So really powerful to understand and ensure, again, that you're capturing all of the expansion potential in your accounts. Okay. Now, what we've discussed even further here is how do we ensure that this playbook is refined and tuned to a point to where we know that it is creating more expansion opportunities for our business? How can we measure that in a data-driven way? Now, with traditional mechanisms, oftentimes you're flying blind in terms of understanding if these playbooks are working or not. So what we've introduced recently is playbook insights, which you all may be familiar with. And this ties really well to signals, and I'll show you why. In the settings of the playbook is where you're able to set an objective for the playbook to enable you, again, to measure the effectiveness of this playbook. So what we've prescribed time and time again with our customers is building out an upsell expansion playbook based on your signals and then measuring, did that in fact lead to expansion opportunities being created? Or in fact, maybe you create the objective here to be closed won business from these opportunities. Now, once you set this, you now will have the ability to measure and understand what percentage of the customers that entered this playbook met the objective. So this is really Amazing, because 80% of the customers that entered this playbook, in fact, met the objective that was set out. Now, what you'll also be able to understand is at the individual account breakdown or the individual accounts that enter this playbook, did they meet the objective? If so, when? Right? So, as a leader, you have clear data driven guidance as to which playbooks are working and which ones aren't. So, again, you can really refine that expansion motion in Catalyst, where starting with the signal, you set it up so it's clear to reps when they're ready, giving them the optionality as to which action should be taken next. Maybe it's manually adding them to a playbook. Maybe it's not manually, but allowing the playbook to handle it automatically, or just directly creating the opportunity. And then, of course, being able to measure your processes so that you can constantly refine them. Now, it goes without saying, but also worth highlighting again, of course, are the action insights within these playbooks, giving you the sense of, is our messaging resonating with our customers? What percentage of our customers are opening, clicking, replying to our emails? And for the tasks you're assigning out to your team, are they completing them and completing them on time? We want to make sure that the actions we're prescribing to the team are valuable, relevant, and helpful. If we notice that they're not being completed, that's an opportunity to speak with our team to ensure they're bought in with the right steps and process to execute on the expansion. Awesome. Okay. Now, we also understand too, in relation to this expansion motion, there are still going to be teams that are operating out of Salesforce. So, as Alex mentioned earlier, we are very excited to announce that now what we will be able to do is, of course, in addition to being able to, of course, directly create opportunities from Catalyst based on these signals, we're also going to provide a level of insight into these accounts where you're in fact going to be able to deliver this health score card directly into Salesforce. So this is going to be a module you can embed in Salesforce as a visual force component so that the teams operating in a Salesforce can see this health score. And soon in the coming weeks, we will also be able to showcase the signals. So quite literally these scorecards directly within Salesforce as well. So as you can see, whether it's all in Catalyst, whether there's still some operations occurring in Salesforce, we want to make sure that this is a smooth, holistic approach to expansion, sort of combining the flows together between Catalyst and Salesforce. Alrighty, team. So I'm going to take a quick sip of water and we'll move on to the next section. Beautiful. And I see Patricia has a question. Does it integrate with HubSpot? So depending on the data you're referring to there, Patricia, we could potentially integrate. Currently, we integrate with Salesforce CRM as the main CRM. But if you're referring to maybe HubSpot marketing data, we have quite a few different ways that we could bring in that marketing data as well. But as it stands today, Salesforce is the primary CRM that we integrate with. Great. Okay. Now, I think zooming out a bit into this expansion motion, we talked a lot about the workflow that you can infuse into Catalyst in regards to expansion. We talked about measuring and iterating on the processes to make sure they're effective as possible via the playbook insights. But at the highest level, leadership oftentimes wants a strong sense for how are we forecasting towards our expansion targets. And what we have recently launched within Catalyst is what we call our moments of impact. Moments of impact, very simply, are key solutions that we build for you out of the box. So when you partner with Catalyst, you're going to get 4 out of the box solutions where you don't have to lift a finger. You will have access to once you partner with Catalyst. One of them being a forecast and revenue dashboard, such as this one, so that as you get going with Catalyst, you have a solid foundation for key use cases and workflows, namely forecasting. And if we look at this dashboard here, what we're driving towards is how do we ensure that we're on top of our expansion targets, right? So you can see your current quarter plan right here. You can understand to date, actual closed one, best case, most likely, and worst case. This is aggregating the ARR tied to these specific themes, right? And as you're all familiar with, Catalyst is very modular and flexible in that you can drill into these opportunities with ease with one simple click. Now, if we look at our open expansion opportunities, something that's extremely powerful here is the cross-object query we are running here, where we are marrying together opportunity and account data all in this one view, right? So this is a view that is simply really hard or flat out impossible to get in Salesforce. And I'll show you why. That's because you're looking at this one media group expansion opportunity and able to also cross reference the health score of that customer, right? So in this case, yes, we do have an expansion opportunity, but the account itself is not looking good from a health perspective. So it gives you more clarification and insight as to what's the likeliness of this expansion opportunity actually closing. So you have that context and have more of an accurate understanding of where is the business going to lie at the end of this quarter. Now, of course, here you have your classic opportunity data, proposal review, amount, close date, etc. As a reminder, the reason why the forecasting in Catalyst is often extremely accurate is because we make it so easy for teams to update fields in line. So, what I mean by that is whether it's on this view or on your individual reps view, we want to make it easy so that they can inline update these close dates, update the amount dates in a way so that it automatically feeds into this forecasting revenue dashboard. And if these are Salesforce fields, this of course is going to speak back to Salesforce in real time. So again, this is a part of our moment of impact initiative, making it so that you have a strong foundation as you partner with Catalyst and come in with some core use cases built out. So to summarize here, hopefully you saw the ease in which we can start with our expansion hub so that you can, as a rep, very clearly understand when a customer is ready for a given expansion type. Go ahead and do things like setting reminders to remind yourself later down the line, dismiss it if you know it's not ready, or take action such as creating an opportunity, adding to a playbook, etc. All the way into ultimately turning this potential into reality and into a closed won opportunity for your business. All right, team. So I believe that is what we wanted to share today. Definitely feel free to add any more questions in the chat if you feel so called to. And I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Sean. I hope everyone learned something today and is feeling inspired. Looks like we've got lots of gifts. I definitely love seeing that in the chat. Still feel free to just put a GIF in if you'd like. But now is your time to ask any questions before we let you go. So we'll just hang on for a second, see if some questions come in or gifts again, all in the name of having fun here today. Okay, we have one in the Q&A. So yes, this is certainly all recorded, and we will be sharing a recording to you as an attendee. So thank you again for attending. You'll get the full call.
Don't be shy, guys. You can try to stump me. You mentioned that the health tied to ops is not viewable in Salesforce. So I should be clear that the health score, Stacy, when I was looking at that revenue home dashboard or even in the other views, that is a Catalyst native concept where what we're doing is combining all the context rich customer data you've consolidated into Catalyst and then working with you to build a weighted health score. And that health score then can be synced to Salesforce and even viewed in Salesforce. But Salesforce doesn't necessarily have the mechanisms to create the health score in the way that you can create it in Catalyst. But again, to clarify, you can in fact sync that health score that you've built in Catalyst into Salesforce.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. We're definitely getting some roll in. The ones in the chat we can't share on the screen, but I see Jordan asked, how much different is your expansion sale? Oh, you are able to share that. Thanks, Daniel. How much different is your expansion sale close rate to a net new prospect close rate? I think, is that in regards to Catalyst? Do we need extra context there, Sean?
Yeah, I don't want to misconstrue Jordan's question. So I'll maybe answer it under the assumption, Jordan, that you're asking in regards to Catalyst. So not sure I'm able to share specific details, but that being said, this is a major focus, of course, for our business, not only from a product perspective, but obviously as a business as well, where we are prescribing these best practices around customer-led growth. So we're also able to then infuse them into our business strategy, as we have uncovered that in this day and age, customers are the most sustainable growth engine for businesses. So we're very fortunate in that sense that we kind of get to not only build out the best practice in our product, but really taste our own soup, if you will, and leverage things like signals for our own business as well.
Awesome. Well, hang on. I think we've answered everything in the Q&A so far. All right. Well, it's 2:03. So I'm happy to let everyone have some extra time in their day. Seems like everything is closed out for the chat and Q&A. But thank you for the participation. We always love to see just engagement from our audience. And again, we really hope you've learned something new here today and feeling a little bit inspired and excited, and how we can go after some expansion opportunities between success and sales. Um, so thank you again, Sean, as well. Huge round of applause. Thank you for the awesome demo today. And we'll certainly share the full recording with you after this.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.